uncovering the truth, piece by piece, in the world of mysteries.
It started like a whisper, one that echoed through the marble halls of justice. Pam Bondi, Florida's former attorney general, just reignited one of the most politically explosive investigations in modern U.S. history. By ordering a grand jury probe into top Obama-era officials, she's not just opening old wounds, she's raising the stakes in a game that never really ended. At the center, the Russia investigation, once hailed as a pursuit of justice, now re-examined under a different lens. Was it really about national security? Or was it a political weapon aimed at a rival before he even took office? This grand jury isn't just looking for loose ends, it's tugging on a thread that could unravel everything. So, who's in the crosshairs? According to sources, Bondi's grand jury is zeroing in on key architects of the Russia probe. Names like James Comey, John Brennan, and Susan Rice have surfaced in hushed tones. These aren't just former officials. They're symbols representing an administration's most controversial decisions. Did they act out of duty or political revenge? Allegations suggest potential abuse of surveillance tools, improper FISA warrants, and even coordination with media to sway public opinion. But proving intent, that's where the grand jury comes in. Behind closed doors, under oath, history may start rewriting itself. Timing is everything in politics, and Bondi's move raises a storm of questions. Why now? Is this justice delayed, or revenge dressed as accountability? With the 2026 midterms approaching, and Trump's influence still looming, the lines between legal investigation and political theater blur. Bondi claims it's about restoring trust. Her critics say it's political warfare. But regardless of motive, this probe has already begun shifting tectonic plates beneath D.C. Republicans are celebrating, Democrats are circling wagons, and the American public, once again trapped in the crossfire. John Brennan, former CIA director, was one of the earliest figures to raise alarm over alleged Russian interference in the 2016 election. He testified before Congress, briefed President Obama, and helped launch the intelligence community's assessment that Russia favored Trump. But Bondi's grand jury is now examining a different question. Did Brennan's influence shape that assessment beyond raw intelligence? Internal memos and testimony are reportedly being reviewed for signs of politicization, premature conclusions, or selective interpretation of data. What was once accepted as a national security consensus is now under forensic scrutiny. Was Brennan safeguarding democracy or steering its direction? As National Security Advisor, Susan Rice had authority to request the unmasking of Americans' identities hidden in intelligence reports. Normally, this is routine and highly regulated, but Bondi's investigation suggests that during the post-election transition in late 2016 and early 2017, those unmasking requests increased sharply. The grand jury is now reviewing whether any of those requests were politically motivated. Were names of incoming Trump officials amassed without valid intelligence need? Were those identities shared outside proper channels? For a nation that values civil liberties, the answers could shape not only public opinion but the future limits of executive surveillance power. James Comey, then FBI director, faced an impossible choice: brief President-elect Trump about the Steele dossier, or stay silent and risk being accused of concealment. He chose to brief and later documented that interaction in memos. Those memos were leaked, triggering the appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller. For critics, this was strategic manipulation. For supporters, it was a moral imperative. Now, the grand jury may examine whether Comey's actions were consistent with FBI protocol or crossed lines for personal or political motives. His decisions set off one of the most consequential investigations in American history. Was it justified or premeditated? So here we are. A grand jury is now in motion, not for Trump, not for Clinton, but for the unseen architects of the Russia investigation itself. For years, Americans were told the story of collusion, of secret backchannels, hidden meetings, and ominous contacts between a presidential campaign and Moscow. But the longer we stare into the mirror, the more it reflects a different face: career officials, embedded loyalties, strategic leaks, and perhaps a political operation masked as national security concern. Bondi's decision to convene a grand jury isn't just legal theater. It sends a message: if investigations can begin based on flimsy evidence, then so can accountability. If documents can be unsealed, so can reputations. If officials once assumed they were untouchable, they might want to rethink that now. And yet this is not revenge. It's not partisan payback, at least, not on paper. It is a reminder that behind every powerful institution are people. People with biases, motives, ambitions. And when those ambitions steer intelligence, the damage runs deep, not just to individuals, but to democracy itself. So where does this go from here? Will this grand jury yield criminal charges? Or will it fade like others into the shadows of Washington memory? That's the mystery, and that's the mind game. This is Mystery Mind.